Hello and welcome to Homestead Miami Speedway for the completion of the 34th race weekend of this season for both Reebok, Hooters, and the Coke Vanilla Cup Series. If you didn't watch qualifying, you wouldn't know the front row, so here it is. Matthew Marias and Will Lewis will start on the pole, his second pole of the year. Brian Patterson and Dylan Casella row 2, so the Roush car is quick in qualifying. Tristan Wilhoy and Chris Sluvier make up an all-Go-Go Homer first 3 rows. And in row number 4, Jay Stella and our first non-Gorgo home car, the 38 of Mary Shelley, who was 4th in points coming in. William Duncan and Mason Neal make up row number 5. And here is the rest of your starting grid. Levi McIntyre comes in with a 2-point lead over Chris Washer and Eric and Rage, who both come in tied for second. And it is an 11-point lead over Mary Shelley, who is 4th in points. The bottom 4 in points are Amy Shelley, Dylan Young, Henry Powers, and Tom Shelley, who, after a poor showing last weekend, going to look to rebound and is behind the 8 ball for this round. The ultimate wild card round here for the round of 8, because not only did we have Zen Joltis, which proved to be a hectic race, but we also have Velton's Arena coming up next, and that one, you never know what to expect, basically. Here comes the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
Going to have the 8 onboard cameras that are going to be carried by our title eligible drivers, starting with the 99 of Levi McIntyre carrying the Office Depot onboard. Just in front of him is Henry Powers carrying the Ford onboard camera. Next up, carrying the Coca-Cola onboard, Tom Shelley. Chris Washer is carrying the Kellogg's onboard camera. I didn't realize how close these guys all were, basically. Amy Shelley is carrying the Dodge onboard camera. Eric and Rage is carrying the Goodwrench onboard camera. Dylan Young, the Budweiser onboard camera. And finally carrying the Pedigree onboard camera will be Mary Shelley. And you know what, just for the giggles, I guess, of it, and so I don't have to talk for the first lap, we're going to go ahead and watch the onboard of Mary Shelley. What she sees, there you see the pace car pull off. Field under control of Will Lewis. And the green flag is out for 41 laps at Homestead. And it was Will Lewis leading lap 1, getting 5 valuable bonus points for their chase to try and be top 30 in the owner's points. I was kind of curious what was happening back there. I thought I saw some stuff that might have developed into something interesting. Matthew Marias got the run off a corner, though. Took the 3rd spot back from Brian Patterson. And Dylan Casella leads lap 2. So it looks like in the early going, at least, that outside line going to be able to withstand at least some sort of a fight here, as Dylan Casella trying to hold on to that top spot. Now it looks like that inside line kind of formed up a little bit better. As off the 4th corner at the line, Marias will lead by inches. And Patterson now makes the move for the race lead, and oh boy. Yep, I saw that happen, and Robert Pollard's around. Kenny Bale spins out. And I don't think anyone's going to hit the 11. but this looks like it could be dangerous. Oh boy. So looks like they are going to sort it out. Now I'm just hoping for no plows. Kazuyoshi into the wall. And for how spins have gone this weekend, that was fairly calm. Looks like the leaders, well, now they're somewhat stacking up underneath the caution. Maybe I need to look at the pacing distance. Looks like, though, none of the drivers are going to pit here, so let's take a look at what happened to Kenny Bale. And we are back. Here's what happened to bring out the caution. Robert Pollard's going to get hooked by the 21 of Tristan Wilhoit. Sends him up into the wall and back down the track right into Kenny Bale. Sends the 11 car for a spin. Pollard comes back up and gets hit by the 21 again. Nice job by Momo Akari to avoid it. And a great job by everyone else to not hit the 11 car. There is going to be one on board I do want to take, as there were some collisions there, which shouldn't hurt anyone. Like I said, one on board I'm going to take, though, and then we'll go back to the green flag. On board, Mary Shelley here. Great move by Shelley to notice that was happening and get on the brakes a little bit and slow down, and great job by everyone to not run over the 38 car. And we are back. No retirees, no lap cars. Matthew Marias is the leader. Brendan Patterson runs second over Dylan Casella third. Chris Levier fourth. Mason Neal, the top guy who's locked into these races right now, in fifth. Jay Stella, Will Lewis, Jake Baskinger, Steve Pollard, and William Duncan complete a very go or go home centered top 10. Dylan Young is the top chaser, currently in 11th. Chris Washer, another chaser, in 17th. Eric Enrage, 18th. Tom Shelley is in 23rd. Levi McIntyre, 24th. Mary Shelley, 25th. Henry Powers is in 31st currently. Theo Stegall, who I believe is still contending for the owner's chase, is 33rd. No, 60 is still contending for the owner's chase. Never mind. 33, who is still contending, is 38th. Troy King is 39th. That's for the owner's chase for both of them. Amy Shelley is in 40th, the other chaser in the field so far. So we'll get back to racing here on lap number 9, as we had a very interesting start to the race. I'm kind of surprised that the outside line worked the way it had compared to the rest of the race weekend. Green flag's back out. Will we see anything different here in this run? First move I saw was back here with Sky Commons. He's going to go underneath Henry Sanford. That was for 14th position. Meanwhile, Chris Washer looking for the 16th position right now. And it looks like Plord going to get the run around the outside without the drafting help there. Dylan Young makes the move on Steve Pollard and Will Lewis. That is for the 9th position. So move Dylan Young into the top 10 now. Jake Baskinger, who I talked about in qualifying, needing a good run. Also needs the 22 to struggle a little bit too, but so far only the first of those things is actually happening. Could also use getting up there and leading some laps, as Brendan Patterson will lead yet again. I believe he got out there in that first run and actually led some. Strong battle here with his teammate, though, Dylan Casella in the 06. Side by side down the back straightaway they come. And Patterson drives it in hard. Look at the run William Duncan got in the 48 car. To the middle he goes from 7th to 5th. Power move by the 48 car. Speaking of another power move, though, there goes Dylan Young. too wide. That inside line looks to work through 1 and 2 as Dylan Young will use it to pass the 48 car. And looks like Chris Levy are going to try and use the outside to his advantage here in 3 and 4. And Duncan going to go back to that middle line once again. This time we'll lose a couple spots that lap. Only back to 5th though. Meanwhile, Jake Baskinger to 2nd in that 18 car, trying to get a good run. Hoping, just trying and praying to make the top 30 in points. It's a long shot, it really is. But a solid run here today and possibly the win would go a long way in helping that. Patterson leads at the stripe though. Baskinger gonna get the lead though through 1 and 2. Here comes Dylan Young to the inside possibly. No, Patterson gonna retain 2nd still, which is something we have not seen that much this weekend. Although Dylan Young now makes the move for 2nd. Going to put the 17 on that outside line, which right now, not a terrible spot to be in all honesty. Baskinger though grabs 5 bonus points for leading a lap. That will go a long way in helping their cause. And Dylan Young to 2nd. Meanwhile, the car that is in 30th, can't lose it this week, is Allie Nelson, looking to try and maybe pass one of those cars that is just ahead of them in the owner's points, build a cushion. But right now, that's the car that people are hoping maybe has a few issues here in the final couple races. Meanwhile, top 2 are single file. It's going to be Mason Neal grabbing 3rd away from the 17, and Steve Pollard now is going to try and follow through for 4th. Dylan Young, the Florida native here, looking to try and follow in the tracks of the 18 and find a spot to make a move. As Nelson now to the middle here. Best battle on track right now with Sky Commons there in the 10. As Chris Louvier goes up the middle of the 01 now. It's not going to really do him as much as it did the 48 earlier in this race. Although I say that, and that's the corner where it was really working for that 48 car. Oh, Charles Jackson to the inside wall. And that will bring out the caution as it slid back onto the track. Look out for Kenny Bale. Kyle Collins has damage, so there was a secondary wreck. And this will help Jake Baskinger, going to lead some laps under caution. It's free laps for him. And he'll lead under the caution flag. Not quite sure what happened to the 32. Might have been Gene Sanford in the 55 as well involved. But there is a lot of damage to the rear end of the 32 Tide Chevrolet, and oh boy, they're pitting. Well, that's my fault. I didn't realize that that would happen when they went to pit. Well, so see who has damage now of the cars that are here. Looks like Alex Perkle, Jeff James was run into. Maybe a dent to Mary Shelley's car. Troy Kang's got damage as well. The 32 now, even more damage. 72, Robert Pollard was run into. Gene Sanford's definitely got nose damage. And now there's a collision on pit lane with the 33. Now cars entering and leaving their pits, and this is getting chaotic here on pit lane. Going to try and get up here and look at who's going to win the race off pit lane. A race that was already decided. And it is going to be the 22 of Allie Nelson in a huge twist. Dylan Young second, Eric and Rage, Sky Commons. Chris Louvier looks to be the top 5. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. And we are back. Turn 4 has been a trouble spot all weekend long, and it didn't fail here. Kyle Collins going to clip the 9 car here down the front straightaway, turn him to the inside wall. That will explain probably what's going to happen here with Collins. Charles Jackson's car goes for a simple spin, and it's his car that's going to end up bringing out the caution. And Kyle Collins, we saw this in the Hooters race the other night, and I'm willing to bet I know what's going to happen here. Who's going to be the unfortunate car? And it is going to be Gene Sanford. Runs right into the 32. Just nowhere for Gene Sanford to go, and that long winless streak going to extend another race now as the caution comes out for Charles Jackson spinning. And there's no reason to really show what happened under the caution. I know it basically is stack up. And we are back. Only the 2 retirees underneath the caution, Kyle Collins and Charles Jackson, 2 of the eliminated chase contenders. Allie Nelson is the leader. The 5 bonus points not going to help, and oh my, I see what's going on back there. Dylan Young, top running chaser, in 2nd. Eric Rage is 3rd. Sky Commons 4th. Chris Louvier 5th. Mason Neal, Jake Bassinger, Steve Pollard, Dylan Casella, and Jay Stella to round out the top 10. And Jeff James has blown up the Aaron's Ford in 11th, so not the end of the night. They would have liked. Chris Washer runs 12th. Duncan, Akari, Shelton, Sanford, McIntyre, another chaser in 17th. Plord, Marias, Mary Shelley, another chaser in 20th. Stegall, Curtis, Matthews, Tom Shelley in 24th, one of the other chasers. Will Lewis, Casella, Amy Shelley in 27th. Sam Curtis, Newworth, Henry Powers in 30th. Perkle, Day, Kazuyoshi, Robert Pollard, Bale, Gene Sanford, Kang, Patterson, Will Hoyt, and Stephen Pollard III. Green flag's back out. We're underway on lap 23. So how quickly... Okay, so Henry Sanford, the first car I saw make a move towards the middle of the pack. Dylan Casella also makes a move here. Question now also going to be at this point, who's going to have damage too? As Sky Commons makes the move on the 29. And Dylan Young's going to make a move on the 22 car. So Nelson leads at the stripe. Enrage tried to drive it in there, but Sky Commons stuck the nose in there. And new leader at Florida is Dylan Young, but Nelson pulls the crossover on the 8 car. Sky Commons going to go to the middle though. Ran out of room. Nelson leads at the stripe. And Jake Baskinger looks for the race lead now on the 22. Saw him get out there and he was able to kind of pace the field a little bit. Mason Neal going to go to the inside, or at least make a look at it. Not able to make the move. And Sky Commons going to try and go to the middle now. Again, runs out of room. Almost gets pinched there by the 12 of Mason Neal. So Neal now to 2nd. And that's going to be Steve Pollard to 3rd. Almost some contact between the 2 chasers there, the 29 and the 8. Dylan Young on that middle line right now. A little bit of damage to the right side of Eric and Rage's car. Might have gone the wall at some point. It's been a really gusty weekend here. 15 mile an hour gusts tonight at times, so... For whatever reason, Miami not playing kind to us in terms of the wind, as Mason Neal now goes for the race lead. Baskinger trying to hold it in tough there on that outside line. Not going to be able to do so this time. Mason Neal back to the lead, or to the lead now. So look at the back. Stephen Pollard III is off the pace. Tristan Wilhoit is as well. Looks to be Gene Sanford, Troy King, Alex Perkle, and Brendan Patterson all off the pace, as 3 of those 5 have no hood. Kazuyoshi, Kenny Bale, Robert Pollard. Not great news for Henry Powers that he seems to be off the pace. Mary Shelley just kind of hanging in there in 27th right now. Trying to get to the bottom maybe is all she's trying to do. We'll have that opportunity here to be clear now and run her own line and set her sights on the 14. Amy Shelley with the damage to the rear end of her car, just hanging in the draft right now. Tom Shelley still in it. Chris Washer now the top running of the, well never mind, Levi McIntyre top running of the Chasers. As Jake Baskinger now looks once again for the second position. Mason Neal opens up a little bit of a lead. And Baskinger clears for second as Nelson falls towards the back of the lead pack. Levi McIntyre, the points leader though, running in the top 5 once again. Looking to set his sights easily to Talladega, or try and relax a little bit at Velton's Arena at the very least. As I see Nelson is on that top line right now. Not sure if that's exactly planned or just by accident. As Levi McIntyre now going to make the move on Sky Commons, or at least makes a look at it. Not going to be able to make that move, it looks like. Battle for 6th. Momo Akari, Preston Plord battling for position right here. Jay Stella is going to make a peek on the 5 of Chris Washer though, while those two battled. And Jake Baskinger closing back in on the 12. Battle for the race lead with 10 to go. Now 9.5 as they go into turn number 3. Looks like Baskinger's going to be there. He's had a really strong car here tonight. The Asthma Control Chevy leads another lap. And Levi McIntyre leaves the bottom open. Momo Akari takes advantage. As 3 rows of 2 at Homestead here. Kind of just how they started, somewhat. As Baskinger looks to try and clear, they start to catch the 33 of Stephen Pollard III. At the line, Baskinger led again, and this time he'll drive it in there and he'll clear the 12, I think, off of the turn. Yes, they will. But here comes Mason Neal now with a crossover, and they're wrecking behind him. Levi McIntyre hard into the wall. Big crash. Oh my! Levi McIntyre's car destroyed. Will Lewis is upside down. And a horrible crash has just happened. And Jake Baskinger is the leader. Oh my. A very horrific crash has just gone down here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Jake Baskinger, your leader here. Mason Neal. Matthew Marias looks to have damage in the 19 car. Might have just been run into. Ben Neuwirth has damage. Not sure if it's from the crash. Dylan Casella is wrecked. So too is the 10. I saw the 43 around that wreck. Ali Nelson, Troy King, Tristan Wilhoit, might have missed it. Jay Stella, Mary Shelley, Momo Akari, Preston Plord, William Duncan was involved. Robert Pollard, his car is just destroyed. A lot of damage there. Alex Perkle involved. And let's go ahead and take a look at what has just transpired here at the Homestead Miami Speedway with less than 10 to go. Well, for all the troubles that we've had coming out of turn number 4, this one starts down on the back straightaway. 3 wide. Momo Akari and Sky Commons just squeeze the 99 of Levi McIntyre. We'll show McIntyre's hit later. Meanwhile, we're just going to show what happens up here. Akari Commons then slides down into the 31. Jay Stella gets a piece there. There's William Duncan. Chris Washer with a near miss. Preston Plore gets pancaked into the wall. Chris Levier gets turned. Dylan Casella, Mary Shelley gets a piece of it right there. Jessica Shelton's going to get run into from behind by Henry Powers, as Powers then slides right into the 24. And Akari's going to get turned around, or continue going at least, I should say. Let's look at the 99. As this was probably one of the hardest hits we've seen all season. McIntyre's car is going to get squeezed right here. And we'll slow it down even more, as then Preston Plord, nowhere for him to go, gets right into the left rear of the 99, turns him down, and you see the car start to pick up speed as it heads towards this wall, and there's nothing Levi can do. 190 as he makes impact with the inside wall right there. And then the car with the momentum is just going to boomerang across the track. There's Preston Plord getting hit by the 99 again. Henry Sanford, who had just been sideswiped, gets collected. Chris Louvier and Theo Stegall right there on the apron, thinking they're going to miss it, and Stegall's going to end up clipping the right rear of Louvier's car and sending him up into the wall. You see, there's the Hot Hughes Chevy getting turned. Just a humongous hit. Momo Akari comes down into Dylan Casella's car. Ali Nelson is going to hit the 2. And Will Lewis is going to come down here. He's going to hit Henry Sanford. Another hard hit for Sanford this season. There's Powers getting struck. Robert Pollard's going to go right into the 6. That's what sends the 6 up and over. Kenny Bale gets a piece of it in the 11. Just a very horrifying crash. Oh my gosh, Bale up on 2 wheels as well in the 11. And with the amount of chases involved, let's go ahead and take a few onboards to see what they saw. We're going to start with Chris Washer. A little bit of contact there, nothing too bad. Onboard, Levi McIntyre. Going to go on board with Henry Powers, a driver who's had a pretty rough night already up to this point. And the final onboard we'll go with is the defending champion, Mary Shelley. And we are back for what will be a 3-lap shootout after that wreck. Jeff James, Hiroshi Kazuyoshi, Henry Powers, Henry Sanford, Levi McIntyre, Will Lewis, Chris Louvier, Kenny Bale, Alex Perkle, Preston Plord, Robert Pollard, William Duncan, Momo Akari, and Mary Shelley all out of the race. I realize also saying that Jeff James did retire before that, but he is also out of the race now. Jake Bassinger is the leader over Mason Neal, Steve Pollard, Matthew Mariah, Sam Curtis, Tom Shelley, Dylan Young, Ben Newworth, Chris Washer, Axel Casella. Eric and Rage runs 11th. Amy Shelley in 13th. And that is it for the drivers' chase drivers still running. Green flag is out. We're underway for a 3-lap shootout here at Homestead. Can Jake Baskinger hang on to it for 3 more laps? Lap traffic won't be an issue. Matthew Mariah makes a move for 3rd. Not able to keep it though, as Mason Neal now makes the move for the lead. Someone had to pit there. I think that was the 59 car. Meanwhile, 3 wide for the race lead as Baskinger might have gone the wall there. Here comes Steve Pollard now. 27 car looking for second. As I see a couple of the chasers there in the back. 2 to go. 1.5 actually, basically. Mason Neal will see the white flag this time by, and they're battling for second behind him. He's loving what he sees in his rearview mirror. White flag for Mason Neal. Can Steve Pollard catch the 12? Well, not if Sam Curtis has anything to say about it, because here he comes to the inside. And at the end of this race, it's going to be too much battling behind him. Off the final corner for the first time this season in his career, Mason Neal is a winner in the Coke Vanilla Cup Series. Sam Curtis second, Chris Washer third. Steve Pollard going to get fourth out of it, and Axel Casella well-earned fifth place. Now Baskinger is going to end up finishing seventh. Where did the 22 finish? 21st. And Eric and Rage ends up 25th. Sky Commons had to pit. But nothing can spoil the day for Mason Neal. He is your winner here today in the Jose Fernandez 400 presented by AAA. I forgot to mention that at the top because I'd forgotten. But this race sponsored after the late Jose Fernandez, who died in a boating accident, was a Miami Marlins pitcher and a very promising young arm for their team. Named that this after, I decided to name it this after his passing probably 2 years ago already now. Top 10 today: Mason Neal, Sam Curtis, Chris Washer, Steve Pollard, Axel Casella, Matthew Marias, Jake Baskinger, Dylan Young, Tom Shelley, and Ben Newworth. Other chasers today: Amy Shelley in 13th. Troy King, one of the owners, chased fighters in 19th. And Stephen Pollard III, 23rd there, another one of them. Eric and Rage will finish one lap down in 25th. And then if you were 27th or lower, you did not finish the race today. So a very wreck-filled, or at least not very wreck-filled, actually is pretty calm, even though the results don't show it. That was actually one of my favorite, that was my favorite one of the weekend, I'll be honest. In terms of the racing style and the cautions and how many there were. I'd like to thank you for watching. We've got 2 race weekends left, Velton's Arena and Talladega, and all 3 series are going to both of those tracks. Velton's, I'm very scared for the qualifying for this series, and then just for any of the chaos that will happen. I'm not even going to say might, I'm just going to say will happen at that track. And obviously Talladega, a big wild card. We're in the closing stretch though of this season, and I can't wait to see who's able to be crowned the champions of the 3 series this season and get ready for next season. So, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't today, as we have signups right around the corner. And I'll see you next time.